Return now to the story that 3 councillors have joined Reform UK and become the party's first elected politicians in Wales. And let's join now with Lee Anderson, the Reform UK MP. Lee, welcome to the show. So you had a trip to the valleys yesterday and you came home with some bounty. Tell us more.
Yeah, I came back with some very, very good news, Martin. 3 brilliant local independent councillors on Tuffane Council have made the brave and bold decision, the right decision, may I add, to join Reform UK Wales, and they are the first Reform group of councillors in the whole of Wales. It's an historic moment, and I tell you what, the feeling I got around the town and in the pub that we went into after is that Reform, the People's Army, are now on the march in Wales, and that's wonderful news for the people of Wales, who, quite frankly, have been let down for donkey's years by the Labour Party.
Now, Lee, you were saying in the video that Labour have been useless in Wales. This lot are the People's Army, but it's fair to point out that on this particular council, the Labour Party holds 29 of 40 seats, the Reform 3, a former Independent 3. There they are in a bit of a Reservoir Dogs style video there, Lee. Have you strolled in down outside the Boozer in slow motion? I'd expect no less from you and the Reform Party. But tell us, can you make a serious difference? The Brexit Party did OK at the 2019 European elections. A couple of MEPs got away. But the Brexit Party and Reform have never won anything in Wales. What's different this time?
It's a lot different, Martin. The actual feeling out there on the ground, on the doorstep. Look, this place I went to yesterday is not too dissimilar from places like Ashfield, red wall areas, working class areas, where traditionally we've always had a Labour council and a Labour MP. And look at my area, compare it to Ashfield, which you can do, I think. I was my vote share last time, Martin, actually went up. I was one of only 2 red wallers from the 2019 election who retained a seat. The other was Matt Vickers up in Stockton, but he had a very, very kind boundary change. Look, people out there want change, and Reform UK offers something different. People are sick to death of voting for something and getting something completely different. And I tell you what, we'll stick to our guns. We'll keep pumping the same message out to people all over the country, not just in England, in Wales, in Scotland as well. And I tell you what, we've got Senate elections in 2 years in Wales. They've got PR in Wales. And I tell you what, we're going to win seats. So, Martin, if you fancy standing, get your centres at Swansea, go and move there for a few years and learn a bit of Welsh. And who knows, you could be in the Senate in 2 years.
Well, Lee, my Welsh is worse than my King's English. And on that point, I want to pass you over to Chris Hope. He's got a question for you.
Lee Anderson, great to see you. The polling does support what you're saying. We've got this polling from We Think polling showing that Labour's down 6 points since the election, Reform's up 5 points, the Tories becalmed at 20 points. That suggests that support is leaching from Labour towards Reform UK, and that must be a worry, it seems. And how is, you say you're well received in the pub there. When I was covering the Brexit Party campaign that Nigel Farage led in 2019 for European Parliament, he was heckled and booed in Merthyr Tydfil. He was told to go home, we don't need you here, Nigel Farage. Are you sure that's a fair reflection of all people's views of Reform UK?
I think it is, Chopper. I think, politics changes very quickly these days. People are fed up. Look at the last election, for example. Yeah, Labour got a massive landslide, but the actual, the amount of people that voted for Keir Starmer was well down. People are a little bit fed up with politics. Like I said to Martin, they're fed up of voting for one thing and getting another. They've seen now that Reform's got 5 world-class MPs in Westminster. We've got councillors now. Our membership has shot up from 20,000 when I first joined to nearly 80,000. People are joining every single day. Donors are coming on board. My general election campaign was fantastic. I got people coming out of the woodwork I'd never heard of, wanting to help, deliver leaflets, put posters up. There is something happening out there. I know Nigel says this a lot, but people are genuinely fed up with the 2 mainstream parties, Chopper, and Reform UK offers a glimmer of hope.
OK, Lee, now we've got Councillor David Thomas on the show at 5 o'clock. He's the leader of the Reform Welsh 3. But before that, something else you've done today. You sent a rather angry letter, shall we say, to Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary. You're talking about those who've been arrested, and you're coming out with some pretty spicy words about their presumption, you think, of guilt, not innocence. Tell us more.
Well, in this, we pride ourselves in this country, Martin, on being innocent until proven guilty. Now, the Home Office put this tweet out which said criminals. So they're sort of assuming the 1,000 people that's been arrested are already criminals, which is why I sent this letter to Yvette Cooper. Now, bear in mind, this Twitter platform, X platform, if you like, this is the Home Office. This is not some angry politician at 11:30 at night who's probably been on the bottle and decided to tweet something out and then regretted it the day after. This is the Home Office, and I think it's an absolute scandal.
You said here, innocent until proven guilty. That tweet's on the screen now. It appears not since the Labour Party took charge. Check this tweet out from the Home Office sent out last week, which in my opinion is disgraceful. Now, they also sent a letter. I think we've got a picture of that. We can pop on the screen, Lee. And you said here in that letter, you think this could be a possible contempt of court issue. Strong words, Lee. Tell us more.
Well, you know this, Martin. If you talk about a live court case and, make statements on social media, even when we're sat in the House of Commons, if we accidentally mention a current court case, we get slapped down by the Speaker. We can't influence the outcome of any sort of trial. And for the Home Office to say these 1,000 people are criminals, now, it might be the case that most of them are get convicted and face the full wrath of the law. And so be it. But you cannot prejudge that. You cannot say these people are automatically criminals. Where have they got this information from? And to what end, Martin?
Lee, we've seen very touching pictures today of the King in Southport, calming the community there after what we saw with the triple killing and also the riots. We were contacted by a very passionate viewer called June, Lee, and she was saying what needs to happen now is that communities across Britain where those riots took place need to be listened to by the political class, need to be listened to by the Prime Minister. Lee Anderson, we saw that in 2011 in the wake of the Tottenham riots. Yeah. Do you think that needs to happen now? And do you think it will happen? Do you think Sir Keir Starmer will listen to the British public about why those riots took place?
Well, I came on GB News, I think it's 3 weeks ago when the riots were happening, Martin. I said exactly this. It's all right locking people up and banging them in prison and putting them through the judiciary system, quite sharpish. But at the end of the day, you have to sit down and speak to these people. And I made a play on GB News to Sir Keir Starmer that these lads, these youths, whatever, who they keep labelling as far right, get them in a room. Go on, Sir Keir, get them in a room and go and talk to them and ask them why they're so angry. And then you might get to the nub of the problem, and then you might start coming up with some solutions. Because just keep locking people up time and time again is not a solution, because this problem will fester away and it'll keep rearing its ugly head every 2 or 3 years.
OK, Lee Anderson, thanks for joining us on the show. Always a pleasure to have your forthright opinions. And also thank you, Chris Hope, for joining me in the studio.